Hi everyone, and welcome back to another podcast with The Whole Truth. I hope you guys had an amazing Christmas. I know I got tons of messages when I came back just saying Merry Christmas, hope you had a great break, and just like appreciation messages as well, which was fantastic because as you guys know, like I don't run this page because I'm like a hater or anything like that. It's simply for somewhere to come when you just don't know what's happening with the Insta Mum community. So obviously most of us follow all of the same Insta Mums, and a lot of the time there'll be drama that goes down. Like, speaking of which, I think Crystal's wedding anniversary is coming up real soon, but there's stuff that you don't actually see because it's like behind the scenes, or it gets posted and it gets removed super fast. So my page is somewhere where, you know, you can share that. If you've been one of the people that have been able to spot it before it was taken down, you can share that. And then obviously we put it on the page and then everyone can comment freely without having to worry about being blocked or whatever. So it's kind of like your favorite reality TV show, but the episodes just don't stop coming because there's always something happening in the Insta Mum community. Before I do go on with this one, so today's podcast is going to be about Shey and her freaking useless baby daddy Joe. But before I go on, I will say I have made a couple of adjustments. So because of the reporting on the page, I'm now going to be archiving posts after they're done. So they will stay up for like a week to 2 weeks if I can. Like, let's face it, I never ever catch up. But this is what my plan is, okay? My plan is to do podcasts and then go through each of the screenshots on the page, just the important ones, like not the ones that are, you know, if it's a repeat, unless it's a funny comment, I won't go through it again. Or if it's not an Insta Mum, or a meme or a GoFundMe, like obviously I'm not going to share those. It'll just be like, you know, a recap pretty much. And then once they're recapped, those screenshots are going to be put on my Ko-Fi, which I'm going to link below in this video. And the Ko-Fi is just for TWT members. So if you're a TWT member, like you basically just click, I think it's like a reoccurring $1 fee per month, and hopefully with that recurring fee, if we do have people that join who don't see this information on the page, you know, we can use that when there is GoFundMe's come up and stuff. We can obviously help people out with that money, if that makes sense. But anyway, so the idea is I will take the screenshots off the page, they will get archived so they cannot be reported on Instagram, and then those screenshots that I discuss on like a podcast or a recap video, they'll all go into an album on the Ko-Fi. Okay, so you don't need to be a TWT member on Ko-Fi if you don't want to, because if you're on the page, you're going to see it all anyway. It's always going to be there. So unless you're like super slow and you haven't been on in like, you know, a month, then maybe you might miss a couple. But this is just for like those people that don't follow the page, that do watch the Instagram, that do watch the YouTube. And I know there's a lot of them because I looked the other day and there was like something like 75% of my audience are people that don't actually follow the TWT page, or they're not subscribers at least. So I mean, obviously it doesn't really show you the correct numbers, but I'm guessing a lot of those people are like, you know, they might really like the Insta Mums. They don't want to join the page because they don't want to be judged by the Insta Mums, but they also don't want to miss out on the gossip, because who wants to miss out on gossip? So it gives those people somewhere to go where they can actually view the screenshots that I've talked about. So, for example, we're talking about Cheyenne, and I've made like an album and put all these screenshots into that album. So if someone wants to go back through the Ko-Fi and read the screenshots that I'm reading out to you, it gives them like a visual, I guess. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling now, but like I said before, no, you don't have to be a member. If you watch the page, you know it's on the page. This is just for those that miss the screenshots and want to see them. And also it might help us with like the GoFundMes and stuff. I have no plan to monetize for myself. What I want to do is I want to be able to have the ability that if someone is going through, like, as you know, we've had a couple of GoFundMes the last couple of days where people are in like a crisis, or we could do like a giveaway. I don't know. That's what I plan on doing with that. So obviously, you know, Ko-Fi, like I pay $6 a month for Ko-Fi, and I've got the unfollowing apps and all of the stuff. Like I've got Google Photos. I think that's like $15 a month or something. So this just like covers a couple of those things. But mainly what I wanted to do, if we did have people that joined to pay that $1 a month, whatever excess we have, we would try and help people with the GoFundMes, because I mean, at the end of the day, I want to give back what we're also taking. Like, a lot of people see my page as like a hater page, and when in reality it's not. It's a community. It's where someone can come at the end of the day to unwind, or if you're doubting yourself, you know, you can look at the shit show everybody else has in their life and realize, well, maybe things aren't that bad, you know. It's just a bit of entertainment, honestly. That's all it is. So if you're confused at all, just feel free to message me on the page, which is TWT 5.0. But anything, once I talk about it and I upload on the Ko-Fi, I'm going to archive it onto the Instagram page, and that will stop like reports piling up under like one photo or whatever. It's silly that we have to do this way, but it just, you know, it gives people that options to still be able to see the screenshots instead of having to reproduce them whenever someone asks for it. But anyway, moving on. Today we are talking about Cheyenne. I say Cheyenne, I think. Satterfield. So her and her baby daddy Joe, who, I mean, I can't even not be biased in this one because he is such a douchebag. Oh, if I had this guy as my baby daddy, no, I don't know how anyone can deal with him. But anyway, if you don't know who the baby daddy is, Cheyenne, she is... I'm probably going to call her Cheyenne and Cheyenne the whole way through this. So Shey is Sierra's little sister, okay? And, sorry, my kids are just jumping in the background. So if I'm a bit distracted, it's because they're running back and forth, rummaging through the kitchen as boys do during Christmas or any time they're home, to be honest. But anyway, Shey is Sierra's little sister. And when she was, I think she was 16 when she found out she was pregnant. But anyway, there was like a big thing around it because she used to date this guy, Trenton, and her and Trenton had been together. Like, they were like high school sweethearts, and it was like on, off, toxic as fuck, you know. And she ended up announcing that she was pregnant, and he was like the dad. And they were really excited, you know, did like these shoots and everything. And then when Cheyenne had the baby came out rather pigmented. I don't know how you'd say it, but obviously the baby had darker skin than what you would imagine her and Trenton's baby would be, because they're both like white, okay? Now, the people on the Sierra pages, they do not miss a beat with anything, and they were like, that baby is not Trenton's. There is no way that baby is Trenton's. So there was kind of like a bit of back and forth, because some people were like, oh, don't be silly. You know, you can't really judge a baby by like the first or second day it's born. And I mean, let's look at Sierra. Like, she pretty much edits the skin tones of her kids all the time. And this kind of went on for a while, and people were like, yeah, but, you know, my baby was born darker, or my baby was born light and got darker. And there was a lot of like back and forth about it. And then, so the Satterfield sisters came out and they were like, well, you know, we have a grandma on our side who is Cherokee, I think. And they were like, that's why Bella has darker skin tone. And people were like, okay. And they weren't really, you know, Trenton, obviously, like, he was there for the birth. He was there holding her, like, this is my baby. And then he ended up, I don't actually recall if they broke up first or what happened, but I believe it was Trenton who got a DNA test, and it came back saying that he was not the father. And then obviously shit went wild. And it turned out to be Joe, who was Trenton's friend at the time. And, you know, I think maybe Shey beforehand thought it was Trenton's baby and didn't think it was worth saying anything. But, like, I mean, you know, the Satterfields aren't really fantastic at working out, like, how many weeks pregnant they are. Like, I remember how many times Sierra was like, I'm 2 weeks pregnant. And she was, like, way out. So, I mean, maybe Shey just thought she was in the clear, and the baby came out and she was like, oh, shit, how am I going to get around this one? But I think the day she seen Bella, she would have known there was a good chance that that was Joe's baby that she'd had. But anyway, so it turned out to be Joe's. Like, she announced it was Joe's. I think they actually even got together for a little bit to play Happy Family, and then, you know, Joe had someone else pregnant, and then someone else and someone else. Like, this guy is like, there was like a year there he was dropping so many babies, or maybe it was like 2 years. I don't know. It felt like every week he was announcing another pregnancy to another baby mama. It was absolutely ridiculous. So obviously they're not together anymore, and he's now with a girl named Kaylynn. But this is, I just thought I'd give you that backstory. I'm sorry about the rambling. But this is basically what's gone down. So, and I mean, there's been a lot of times where she's tried to put him like back into Bella's life, and it seems like he just goes with whoever the baby mama of the time is, and he doesn't really care much about all these kids that he's leaving around the countryside. But let's just begin with what Shey put up. So this is 2 days ago, I believe. Oh, actually, no, it might have been just before. It was before Christmas, because it's about Christmas. But let me just read this out to you. And this is what Cheyenne, whatever. This is what she posted on her Facebook status. And she actually tagged Kaylynn on it. It's taken everything in me not to expose Bella's worthless, pathetic biological father. Maybe sperm donor is a better word. I'm so tired of keeping quiet. It's so unfair to my child. Actually, you know what? I don't care anymore. Why should I protect his name? I don't like to post things like this, but how is this fair to her? She was so excited, and to do it on Christmas Eve, what a shame. In the end, the only thing that matters is that Belle knows who truly cares and loves her. I would go to the ends of the world to make her happy. I play both roles always anyways. I'll never understand how some people can create human life and have no regard for it. As a matter of fact, they don't deserve to be in her life. That's the last example of a man or father I want to set for her. Why am I surprised? One question, Kaylynn. How can you lay down every night in the same bed as a manipulative, poor excuse of a man? Couldn't be me. I hope one day you wake up and see him for who he really is. When Bella asks me why she can't see her dad or siblings, what do you suggest I tell her? Bella can't use her voice, so I'll use mine for her. So this is what actually went down beforehand. So I've got these screenshots. And Kaylynn had messaged, so obviously Shey has shared these screenshots with that post that she wrote. And she says, this is Kaylynn. Hey, I know it's been a while. Your mum told me you guys moved back. We would love to see Bella for Christmas if that would be okay with you. I would love for her to meet Kaya. We miss her so much. Okay, and Shey writes back, yeah, I think that would be good for her. She's been talking about wanting to see her brother and meet Kaya. We can come over Christmas Day around maybe 4 or 5 if that works for you. And then she writes back and says, yes, that works for us. It'll be so awesome to have all the kids together. She said, I know I wanted to reach out sooner, but I wasn't sure whether or not you guys wanted to see her. And she says, yes, we've missed her so much. And Shey writes, she's so big and funny. Lol, she's so excited. And then I think it's like the next day, Tuesday. Yeah. Kaylynn writes back to Shey again, and she's like, Joe says he doesn't want you here. Sorry. What the fuck? And then Shey replies, and she wrote the 3 like dead skeleton emojis, and it's like, laugh my ass off. Okay. She says, don't contact me again. I told Bella about this and everything. She got her hopes up and was so excited. This is the last time I will ever give you guys a chance. I hope he knows exactly what to say when he's standing in front of God and God asks him why he turned his back on his child. Never again. This is why I don't associate with you guys. It's disgusting and you should be ashamed. I won't ever let you guys have a chance to disappoint my daughter ever again. And then she says, how can you guys be okay with just toying with a little girl's emotions like this? It's so twisted and messed up. And she is spot on. Like, I'm sorry. Like, she has been so respectful to Kaylynn, I think. Like, even when she shared this on her Facebook, like, I would have been livid. Absolutely livid. I mean, I don't think I could have been as nice as what she was. You know, she's like, oh, you know, how can you lay down next to him? He's a poor excuse of a man. And says, like, she hopes that she sees him for who he really is. So she's not even, like, spitting out at this woman who has just completely fucked them over. Like, why would you write all that stuff and then just write back and be like, Joe says he doesn't want you here. Sorry. Like, what the fuck? And this is the thing, like, Bella, I'll go through the rest of the screenshots, but, like, Bella's never sees them. Would you leave your young child with a dad that they barely know? Like, you're not going to just leave them with someone else's family on Christmas Day, are you? Like, of course she's going to go with Bella. But anyway, so then Cheyenne writes on there, and Savannah, who's the other little sister, she's like, they're both disgusting people, shouldn't be allowed to procreate. Bella has all she needs with us. And then Shey writes, I love you, sissy. And then the Carrington, who I think also has a child to Joe, she's one of the other baby mamas, she says she has everyone she needs in her life to be happy. Sorry guys, you all do a great job at keeping Bells happy. You are just the shit. And then Savannah said, how And you're the best at keeping your babies happy. Miss you, girl. So I don't know if she's like a baby mama as well, because she did write up here further saying they did the same thing to us. What is that screenshot? I've got a screenshot. There's just like nothing there. All right. So then there's like a few comments. Now, I'm really sorry. When I put this up on the page, I somehow missed out in the screenshot where it says Joe says he doesn't want you here, and people were like, what did she say? It's cut off. And I didn't actually know because it was Christmas, so I'm just like trying to post as quick as I can, do family time and post. And so I actually didn't read those comments until last night, and I was like, shit, I really screwed up there. So I'm very sorry about that. But I'll read some of the comments. So obviously I can't like read out comments from my page because no one knew what the hell I was talking about. I mean, some of them did, obviously the people that submitted it, and some that went and checked it out on the page. But I mean, these are some of the comments from Shey's Facebook friends. Like, the best thing you'll ever do is protect your sweet baby and keep them all far away. She's too good, and if they can't love her with all of their being, she shouldn't have to settle to be around them. The biggest red flag is being with a man who doesn't care for his child. She should be encouraging to be a better father. And I think, like, this girl, like Kaylynn, I just think maybe she's just afraid to be single because she knows he's a douchebag. I'm pretty sure they're broken up as well. Like, she's not stupid, but why she stays with a man, and we all know, like, he is a cheating son of a bitch. Like, I will show some screenshots up further. I'll talk about some screenshots up further that he put on her page, and it just kind of goes to show what a scumbag he really is. And let me just find where he replies to this. Just trying to see where he wrote back. It says somewhere. I'm sure that other girl, I think her name was, I'm just like going through the screenshots in the Ko-Fi. Here we go. So he writes, this is Joseph, right? Joe. Bella's always welcome at my house, just not you. Sorry, I don't want you in my home. Actually, I'm not at all. And there's like laughing faces on it. And this is the thing, like, this is what Shey writes back. And Shey, like, I have so much respect for her, the way she handled this, because I don't think any of the other girls would have handled it the same way, but like, maybe Savannah, because Savannah's pretty chill. But I feel like Shey, you know, from like when she first had Bella, she was like amazing mum. Then she went through like this shitstorm where we're all like, meh. And then now she's back on track, you know. And I don't think it was a very long shitstorm either. I just remember there was a lot of stuff happening. But she writes back and says, she doesn't even know you. You think I would just drop her off to you after not seeing her for years. I'm not the parent you are. And he said, and then she wrote back, it's called visitation. And that's spot on. Like, no one is going to drop their child that has not to, and like, I mean, Bella's not very old. What is Bella, like 6 maybe? Like 5, 6? You know, there's no way in hell I would be dropping my child off at someone else's, especially when they've got like a whole other family. Like, you want them to get used to being around them. And it seems to me like Joe will show up for like a day, probably most likely when things with Kaylynn aren't going fantastic, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I might want to go and see my other children in case that baby mama wants to shag me. Like, I literally think that's what he does. He has all these baby mamas. He's like hoping that they'll, you know, sleep with him or something. Anyway, Shey writes back, you knew her. My bad. You knew I wasn't going to drop her off. She would be so uncomfortable. You guys are strangers to her. I just thought that after maybe 4 kids, you would have grown as a person. You're sad. Spot on. And then Carrington says he doesn't think when it comes to stuff like this for real. It'd be mind-blowing. So I'm pretty sure Carrington must be the other, because she said something in one of the comments like, you did the same thing to me. And then Joe writes back and goes, blood family, not strangers. But think what you want of me. I'm asleep the same regardless. Your opinions mean nothing to me, literally. And that shows you what a sack of shit Joe really is. Like, could you imagine? Like, I'm asleep regardless. Like, I don't care if I see her or I don't see her or what people think of me. You know, your opinions mean nothing to me. You should think that the opinion of your baby mama would mean something to you. You know what I mean? Like, if my husband and I broke up, I would still hope that he would respect me and respect my opinions. because, like, I gave birth to his children. Like, Joe, you're a fucking wanker. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be biased, but you're a fuckhead. And then she writes back and says, Joseph, whatever, what is his name? Alabayazama. You're your dad made all over, literally. Left his children to have more elsewhere. Sad to see such a sick cycle repeat. So true. And then he writes, you're literally mental. Merry Christmas, though, you filthy animal. Oh, my God. He makes me so angry because I'm like, how can you just keep having children and then, like, you know, leave them somewhere else? This would be like if Brittany kept having children, just, you know, sending them off to live with someone else. It blows my mind. I just don't understand him. But he is such an arrogant pig. Like, he is such a pig. And I don't understand. You know, like Shey, she's been so respectful as Kaylynn girl. And I guess maybe she knows because she's been in that boat with him. But she's just hoping that maybe, like, she'll wake up. I mean, this girl's had 2 kids to him. So she didn't fucking learn the first time. So I don't know if there's much hope that we have for her. And then, like, this is some of the comments that were on there, but one says, if he genuinely wanted to see his kids, he would put aside the fact he doesn't want you there. He doesn't care. He's just using that as an excuse. How embarrassing for his girlfriend to support a man like this. Man, obviously, in inverted commas, because he is a little child. And then Shey writes back, like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to drop her off and leave her there. I don't know what goes on there, and she would be so uncomfortable. She wouldn't want to be there without me. It's literally been years since he saw her. He's out of his mind. Now, I have had messages from people that know them in real life and say that their relationship is toxic as fuck. Not just, and it's funny because, like, they obviously have arguments. I don't think it's all one-sided. Like, obviously, I think this Kaylynn girl, you know, she feeds into a bit. I don't, like, when I looked at it all, I was like, I wonder if Kaylynn is the person that she pretends that she is. Because even looking at the messages, she's like, oh, you know, this, that, and whatever. And then Joe doesn't want you here. Sorry. Like, I feel like if you weren't a bitch, you would have worded that differently and you would have spoke to Shey, I don't know, in a different manner. Like, I just feel like she was being rude as fuck. So maybe she didn't think that Shey was going to be coming with Bella as well. And maybe it's her that has the problem, because obviously as we go forward, we can see that there's a couple of times where Joe's tried to, like, weasel his way back into Shey's life and claim that him and Kaylynn were broken up when they weren't actually broken up, because he's a cheating shit heap, obviously. So I wonder if maybe they had an argument over Shey actually coming and then he's like, it's changed. I don't know. Who knows? But I feel like if you were with someone, you had 2 kids with someone and you just did that and you invited them to come over with their child, you look like a fucking asshole then pulling out. You know what I mean? Like, if I had said that, like I've said it before, if it was my baby daddy, my husband, and he had a child with someone else and he was like, yeah, you know, we want to have for Christmas, and then he, like, pulled out like that and made me look like a dickhead, I'd be wild. There is no way. I don't know. This girl's had 2 kids with him, so there's obviously, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not all her dogs are barking. I don't know. I'm sure she's a nice person. Like, obviously Cheyenne thinks that she's a nice person. She doesn't think it's worth slamming her on Facebook, or maybe Shey has just grown as a person and she just doesn't act like a couple of the other Satterfields would. I don't know, but I think she just handled it really well. Like, she handled this whole situation so well, and I really hope that Shey does stick to her guns and just doesn't leave him around anymore, because who wants to have a dad that's in and out of your life and treats you like that? Like, this girl, Tessa, she left a comment and it says, where'd it go? My dad did this to me as a child. I sat on the front porch for 3 hours in the pouring rain for his girlfriend to call my mum and be like, sorry, we decided to do something else. She will remember this forever. I was 4 when that happened, and I remember it so vividly, being in my Christmas dress in the pouring rain with pigtails, crying because of what he did. I appreciate my mother so much for always picking up the slack. Bella will know who really loved her and cared about her, and that other baby mama, God knowing what number is, which is true, for what that little ass wannabe rapper boy, cut off, to not make plans unless she can follow through. Fuck that. Now, ain't that the truth, though, honestly? Kaylynn, what are you thinking, girl? Like, you met this guy and he's got 2 baby mamas within, like, a couple of months of each other, and you're like, ooh, here's a catch. I'm going to have a baby with him. I'm going to make him a daddy. Like, your red flag meter must be so fucking broken. I just cannot understand it. But not only had one baby, but had two, knowing that he is a cheat and a liar and a manipulator. Like, you know all that about him. And I can't work out whether or not maybe she just needs the stability of being in a relationship, so she just like pretends like everything goes okay, or maybe she's just completely oblivious. You know, you do have those women that are so oblivious, like, oh, you know, it's just the crazy baby mamas, his ex is crazy, that ex is crazy, they're all crazy, and he's not crazy. Like, you know, there's obviously an issue with this guy. If he's like left a big string of toxic relationships behind him, there's obviously something that he's doing as well, and she's been with him long enough to know what's going on. And I mean, we're going to get to it, but there's like posts where they're talking about how, you know, and Joe's the one exposing it to everyone. So Kaylynn obviously knows that he was talking to Shey before and they were being sus with each other. But I feel like maybe he is using his side of the story to like sell things to Kaylynn, and she's not actually getting the whole thing. Like, I don't know, maybe like ignorance is bliss, but I feel like she either doesn't have the whole story, oh, this girl has something wrong with her to be staying with a man like that. Like, you know, get help from your family, do whatever you can, but do not stay in a relationship where you are just losing yourself, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to get cheated to and lied to for the rest of the time that you're with him. So that brings me to discuss, obviously, the last couple of screenshots that we have. So after that, Joe then uploaded this Snapchat, okay, onto Facebook, and wrote, my baby mama always talking shit on Facebook, but this what she snaps me. Cheyenne Satterfield, sorry, I won't leave my family for you. This is what he writes. Now, she wrote in this, so it's a Snapchat, and she sent a picture of herself, and it says, I'm serious, we could make it work. You could make trips back to Point to still see Tavian and the new baby. I don't know, maybe I sound crazy, all right? Now, so she's saying, like, obviously they could be together and then he could go back and forth and see the other two children. And then she responds under there. And so this shows how manipulative he is. Like, if this is true, he is manipulative as crap. Like, sorry, I won't leave my family for you. So he's now trying to make sure that Kaylynn is on his side by making out like Shey is this monster that's trying to, like, steal her baby daddy from him. Now, so Shey writes back and says, this was over a year ago. Can we talk about how you stalked me for months on end and told me that you and Kaylynn were separated because you couldn't stop thinking about me and how bad you fucked up and this and that and the third. Not to mention 2 days after this, I blocked you because I just couldn't do it. You manipulate the fuck out of people for your own entertainment. She then adds, and this was literally about you making trips back and forth to see all of your kids. What were you trying to do with this? Laugh my ass off. And then he writes back saying, just reminding you that I know you don't mean all the bullshit you say. You just need an excuse to keep Bella away from me to make yourself feel better for being a shitty ass parent. Dude, don't be calling anyone else a shitty ass parent. Like, at least Shey is a parent. And I think Shey is actually a really good mother. So I don't know where he was going with that one either. But this kind of makes me believe that maybe this is why he didn't want Shey at his house, because like she said up here, she's like, you know, you stalked me for months on end, told me you guys went together and you couldn't stop thinking about me, all right? And imagine if she goes over at Christmas Day and something goes down and then Shey lets that one slip to Kaylynn. Like, he obviously does not want his baby mamas talking and he's trying to create a divide between them. And I mean, it's working, isn't it? You know, so he can kind of like go between each of the baby mamas. But I think it's gotten to the point where Kaylynn's probably the only one that's dumb enough to actually stay with him. But, I mean, if you read this and she's like, this is about you making trips back and forth to see all your kids, like, what the hell? So she kind of corrected herself there and was saying, you know, that's not what she meant. Because she does only say, she said, we could make it work. You could make trips back to Point to still see Tavian and the new baby. I don't know. Maybe I sound crazy. So I don't know if she's trying to say, like, she's trying to cover up and just say, well, you know, I wasn't interested in him. It was just, you know, that he could see all the kids, like, make trips to see Bella, make trips to see him. Like, we could make it work as parents. But she kind of screwed the pooch with that one because she already wrote that first comment saying, you know, this was over a year ago and you told me you and Kaylynn were separated. So it sounds like, you know, he's one of those cheating douchebags. Like, he talks to someone he's interested in, makes out like him and his girlfriend are having, like, the worst time. They're going to break up soon, and never actually breaks up with her, just tries to get a relationship happening with Shey. So, I mean, he's just a cheating dick. I don't know why Kaylynn's with him. I'm sure it's probably like one of those gaslighting situations where you're like, oh, but I don't have solid proof. Like, she'd be one of those girls that have to walk in and like literally have another chick riding him before, you know, she'd be like, oh, maybe they are having sex. That's how I feel like she would be. But I don't know. I mean, I'm probably being a bit mean to the girl, but I mean, at the end of the day, you've got 2 children with this man. You should be respecting the other baby mama. Your kids are siblings. They should be spending heaps of time together. And not being able to have Shey at your house because Joe can't deal with it, that is another red flag. Like, get that thing fixed, man, because what reason, unless Joe is still in love with Shey and doesn't want to see Shey, or Shey might drop a bomb that he doesn't want you to hear, what reason, if he loves you, would he be that insecure about having Shey at his house? Like, what reason? There's absolutely no reason. I don't know. But let me just see some of the other comments. There's just comments saying, no, Bella deserves much better. It's so true. I really hope she sticks to her guns. I hope that she just keeps Bella well away from him. Like, we've seen between him and like all the baby mamas, there's always something going down. And there was actually a comment from Kelly. So if you don't know who she is, Kelly Stover is Savannah, Shey, Summer and Sierra's mother. So she left a comment on there just saying that he's probably high as fuck and didn't read it. And I mean, that's probably a fair call. We have heard along the grapevine quite often that they do dabble in a bit of drug use. And I mean, if you look back, you know, like I said at the start of the video, Trenton and Joe used to be like, you know, run around in the same circles. They claimed that they were brothers, obviously until the Shey thing came out and about. But, you know, they have kept those habits along the way, because if you remember correctly, only like maybe 6 months ago, Trenton and his baby mama broke up, and then they had this big fight on Facebook, and Trenton's brother, who I don't even know if it's his brother or if it's another like bro like Joe, came forward and was like talking about how she had tested positive to whatever drug it was while she was, I think it was meth even, while she was pregnant. And I mean, the girl didn't deny it either. She just sat there and said, yeah, well, you know, if you're so concerned about it, like, why was I out smoking weed with Trenton's mother or grandmother? It's one or the other. I can't remember if it's mother or grandmother. But yeah, so like, I mean, this is something like habits that have sort of followed through for quite a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if he was still high as fuck all the time, even with having 2 kids. I mean, honestly, if I was Kaylynn, I would need to be high as fuck too to deal with such a piece of shit as a boyfriend, but whatever. But yeah, so, and then we had this other girl. So before I wasn't sure if it was the baby mama, the other baby mama, but it is. So I just looked at it again, and Carrington, she writes on there saying, they did the same thing to Carden. I don't know why we're surprised, for real. And then Shey writes back and says, I love you, babe. I wish you and the boys could spend Christmas with us. And then Carrington replies and says, I wish we could too. We miss you guys so much. It's crazy. Our baby's always going to be good regardless. Literally, I'm sending him papers in the mail to either sign his rights over or do his part as a father, because he's on child support and only got to pay $47 a month, and I still don't see an MF thing. So, I mean, that goes to show how mature Carrington and Cheyenne are. Like, they're the ex-baby mamas, and they get along, and they see each other for the sake of the siblings. Like, they have formed a relationship. Like, they have no association with each other, besides the fact that I think they were both Dut and Joel at the same time, and both had a kid at the same time. But that's the thing, like, they have this mature relationship, and they're letting their siblings get to know each other, and they're not holding grudges and stuff. Like, that's what real parents do, Joe. And as for Kaylynn, like, you should be a part of this, because one day you're going to be. When you break up, because it's going to happen, like, honestly, you're going to get sick of him cheating on you and doing stuff. So sooner or later, you're going to be a part of this little group. It's going to become a little trio. And you're going to want all the siblings to get to know each other. You don't want to be that bitter baby mama that, you know, lets your kids suffer because, you know, you're still holding on to old feelings. You want all those kids to be siblings. It doesn't matter what you guys do. Like, they're all going to be siblings regardless, and you just have to work around that. But I feel like Shey is doing a really good job. And I mean, this other girl has her head screwed on right. I really hope Shey doesn't, like, fall for Joe's crap. I think this might be the last time, like, touch wood, because who knows. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. I just thought I would go through it. If you want to see the screenshots, I'm going to link below the Ko-Fi, but you should be able to go through and see it all on the TWT page, but like it won't be archived for ages because I've still got to do a lot of catch-up videos. But anyways, that's it for me, and I'll catch you guys on the page at TWT 5.0.